Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. Let me just resize my camera here quickly, but welcome to a new Tesla video. So as usual, let's just jump into it. Let's talk about the market, see what happened today. And yeah, what we can expect for the rest of the week, of course, after today's movement. So man, we are just in some, wow, this market is truly something special. So let's discuss what happened. So after we got rejected, so pretty much on Friday, I said how I predicted that we'll go up to either 680, 700, test it. You know, might get rejected, might not. And if we get rejected, we'll probably come down here to at least retest this level that we retested or that we were at earlier, which is around 630. That's exactly what happened. We went up on Monday, came up to 680, then go to 700, which is a sign of weakness in my opinion. But nonetheless, came up to 680 instead of 700, got rejected, evidently, and then we gapped all the way down. Now, there is a massive gap to fill, of course, which I guess is a bullish thing, I guess. But essentially, we ended up just pretty much plummeting down for the whole day, right? Not a good look, of course. Not particularly happy with the movement today, especially because we also made a lower low. Now, granted, the lower low isn't like that much lower, which is a good thing. But nonetheless, it is still absolutely a sign of weakness. You can't deny that. You can't, sugarcoat that, right? It's definitely a sign of weakness. Ideally, what I want to see was essentially like, pretty much the way so in the very morning, we actually went down here and we bounced off of like 627, then we went up. This is actually perfectly fine. This I would have been perfectly happy with if we kind of went up here, especially kept above this, or maybe at least, held somewhere up in the upper levels of this, like maybe 640, something like that. I would have been like, yeah, that's fine. Or if we came back down here, the double bottomed and then bounced up like this, any of those I would have been fine. But the second the market did this right here, the second I see this happened right here, essentially this candle, the second we saw this candle right here at 2:42 roughly p.m. Eastern, that's when things start getting a little bit suspicious. I'm not gonna lie, right? So not particularly happy with the movement today. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world, and mainly because it's, we did recover this dip a little bit, just a little bit, nonetheless, a bit. And we're still pretty close to 630 because, we ended up the day at 628.63, which is very, very close to this level of 630 to 632-ish that I want to hold. So it's not like that bad yet. What would be bad is if we suddenly, especially tomorrow, can't get back above it. If somehow tomorrow we just can't get back above like 632 or something like that, 630 to 632, or even like pretty much if the 630s, anywhere in the 630s starts rejecting us, and especially the lower 630s start rejecting us, and we're having issues going above it and especially holding above it, that's when I'm going to start getting a little bit worried. That's when I'm going to be pretty much convinced that we're most likely coming down to 600, and we'll see what happens there, kind of thing. Now, will 600 hold? I think 600 has a decent chance of holding. It's a psychological support, just the 600 number. Decent support you can see in the past over here. I definitely think 600 has a decent chance to hold, but I've said this before, guys. If 630 doesn't hold, we're going to 600. If 600 doesn't hold, we're going to 570. If 570 doesn't hold, we're going to 550 roughly. But that's the big one. If 550 doesn't hold, we're going straight down to 500 pretty quickly, in my opinion. That's going to happen without a doubt. If not, 450. 500 to 450 are absolutely in play if 550 doesn't hold, assuming, of course, we even get there, right? Maybe we won't get there. Maybe we will. Who knows? It's very hard to determine. This market is extremely volatile, extremely weak. Bears are just absolutely having a feast right now in this market. This market is just not pretty, man. I'll be honest, not pretty. The indices don't look that bad. Honestly, I actually think the indices, or at least QQQ in this case, doesn't look that bad in terms of like, potentially signaling for bounce. It's bounced around this kind of general level of, the two kind of, 286 roughly, 284, that kind of, mid 280s level. It's been kind of hovering around this area. And, there's been clearly a lot of dip buying happening around that level, which is great. Same with the SPY, similar to around this kind of, low 390s to the 380s, mid 380s roughly as well. Same concept here, just actually showing a little bit more strength in the QQQ or just tech in general, which makes sense. Tech is a bit more volatile and, weaker on, harsher harsher market conditions. So the SPY actually looks a little bit better. So honestly, the indices for SPY and QQQ, they actually look like, they're trying. They're really trying to hold. They're really trying to show some strength there and trying to, potentially look for some form of reversal, whatever the reversal might be, but nonetheless a reversal. I wish I could say the same about Tesla. Though Tesla, I'm not gonna lie, is looking nowhere near as strong as they are. Now, again, granted, today's close, even though it's lower than I wanted to, it's only a couple dollars away from ideally where I would have liked to see a close, again, above 630. So it's not the worst thing in the world. And again, don't forget, I do have that 3-day rule where as long as, it doesn't maintain this level and below, then that's fine, in my opinion. So again, essentially, as long as tomorrow or Thursday, as long as we can essentially come right back up to 630 and maintain above it again, tomorrow or Thursday, ideally tomorrow, I'm not too worried yet. But if we have issues and if we have, start to see rejections at like 633, the low to mid 630s, anywhere in that range, and we start getting issues there, that's not good. What else is not good is the fact that the RSI completely destroyed what RSI bullish divergence we had after today. Now you can see it made officially a lower low. So that's completely destroyed. That's pretty bearish. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not happy about that. I mean, there's just really no way to sugarcoat it, guys. I specifically said that I say this level needs to hold 630-ish. That needs to hold. It needs to hold. The fact that we showed this much weakness all the way down to 620, like, it's not ideal. Now, one thing I did notice, at least for, some bright side, if you will, is the fact that all the way back here, when we were trading in this pretty much similar range, roughly back pretty much a year ago, actually, 21st of July, or rather 8th, around the 8th of July, early July, or just July in general, of the year 2021, so almost a year ago, we kind of did something similar where we kind of, fell back underneath here. You can see for the 2-hour candles, right? Kind of fell back to like the 620 area once, twice, almost 3 times, and we got, absorbed and back up all 3 times. And then we, from that, ended up just overall making a push up, which is good. So that could be something that we can potentially see here, right? So this 620 level is actually, looking back, to, again, last year of July, might actually be pretty important, a bit more important than I initially thought, because again, we essentially had a triple bounce, triple bottom on this 620 level, which is good. So far, we went to 620 and we bounced right off of it. That right there, I would say, is the last silver lining I have. But if 620 breaks, we're plummeting to 600. You pretty much just, there's no other way around it. So that's going to happen, guys. So that's something to keep in mind as well. That's something I did notice when I was taking a look back, how the stock performed previously, when we were around this range. So 620 level seems to be quite important. And that's like the last little thread that we're hanging on by, in my opinion, before we see 600. And again, cross your fingers that would hold as well. So that's kind of what I'm seeing at the very moment, guys. Again, another way to look at it is the 5 moving average, the 5-day moving average, well below it. That's nothing to look. That's nothing to, yeah, we are well below that. That's nothing to that's not gonna be helping us anytime soon. I guess let's just say that we're gonna take a little bit more strength than what we showed today for sure to get even remotely close to that and even have some form of reversal. Signs of a reversal being shown. So that's not looking too bueno at the moment. The Bollinger Bands, you can see here, we're just essentially still hovering the bottom side of it. We did bounce off of it here, you can see, which is great. But yeah, it's overall not looking too good. Let me remove this. It's like I got super confused there. I'm like, what the hell is the blue line? But yeah, the Bollinger Bands, we're still having the bottom side. Based on how the Bollinger Band looks, like, it really just does not look like 600 is out of the equation, guys. Like, I'll just completely say that right now. It really just seems like 600 is absolutely within the equation. Like, I would give it a 50% chance we go there, like, this week, honestly, maybe even tomorrow, straight up. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. But again, the major catalyst, guys, I would look for, if you want to kind of determine whether or not that will happen or will not happen, is whether or not we just recapture this 630 level, right? So you can see this general level right here. We want this level to recapture. We're already showing some signs of rejection, you can see. So when we dropped all the way to over here, you can see we bounced to 632, came back up, beautiful, came back down here, bounce, bounce, bounce. And then we fell back down, kind of bouncing this general level still. But then we're starting to show these really heavy sell wicks over here, which kind of is in line with the 632. I mean, I might as well put this line up to 632 at this point, in all honesty. That's kind of where it's at right now. That's my opinion, where the real, resistance and support is. And we're clearly showing some decent signs of rejection now, which isn't good. I'm not going to lie, guys, not good. So I would definitely think that 600 is in play if we don't recapture this kind of 632 level. Ideally tomorrow, at the very least Thursday. But if we're showing like some decent rejections, like pretty much like the way this candle looks like tomorrow as well, as we keep trying to attempt it without setting higher lows, yeah, we're probably gonna fall underneath. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. Very, very important. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's not much else to say other than what I said yesterday. We ended up breaking under a level that I didn't want to break under. We also closed under it, which is also not great. And then we'll see how tomorrow goes. So far, this market is showing a lot of weakness, crazy weakness. This amount of red, again, kind of like what I was saying when we were having, you know, nonstop green over here. And I'm like, guys, you know, having this much green in a row is not normal. It's not normal. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Same concept applies here. You know, having this amount of red, it's like, it's not abnormal for a bear market, which we are in, of course. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a completely abnormal. I haven't personally experienced a real bear market. So this is my, you know, I'm experiencing it with you guys right now, which, I mean, it's interesting, I'll be honest. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's completely abnormal because selling is much more aggressive than buying usually. There's a reason this thing exists, that it's the staircase up but the elevator down, because selling, people panic, they get scared, they panic sell, you have margin calls, the liquidations, things like that, which in turn makes the price go down, which in turn forces the people that had their maybe, you know, margin calls or whatever, stop losses slightly lower, but then because those people above them got liquidated or margin call or their stop loss hit or whatever, you know, it starts escalating really, really fast. And then everyone's like stop losses, margin calls, etc. just starts chaining. It's like a chain reaction, if that makes sense, which is why selling is usually much more aggressive than the buying, except for here, apparently, which is why I was constantly shouting to be careful, because this was not normal. Anyways, the point is that nonetheless, you know, we will eventually have a technical bounce, right? Because eventually you can't just keep going down just as much. You can't keep going up. You just can't keep going down either. You will have technical bounces. It is what it is. It's just a matter of when will it happen. And like I said, guys, the main thing that you want to watch out for in terms of determining whether or not we are ready for the technical bounce is finishing above this 5-day moving average would be step number one. Step number two would at the very least be recapturing 680 to 700 in my opinion. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Brutal market. Make sure you're playing it safe. Make sure you're not on margin, not financial advice. I don't touch margin. If you're curious about what I'm doing, I'm not touching margin. I did just transfer more money to my account. Still kind of waiting on it to see what happens. I don't like this close, so I'm seeing to see if we touch 600. If we touch 600, I will be selling a put for the middle of 500s. And yeah, so that's essentially my current plan, and I'm just kind of being patient. I don't think this is a market where you should be impatient, because these prices won't run away from you, and impatience pretty much will be the death of you, in all honesty. So you got to be really careful. Make sure you're not being too impatient, guys, and, you know, being very safe on the risk, because yeah, very, very spooky market. A lot of people will get wiped out if they're being too greedy and going too ham on margin, too crazy, too aggressive on margin. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. But either way, guys, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.